Hi everyone, and welcome to the Coaching Observer. My name is Coach Sian, providing you an observation from a coach's point of view on currently the Rugby World Cup for all fans, enthusiasts, spectators and emerging coaches. Now, next semi-final game, England versus South Africa. The rivalry, the history, the intenseness of this match, both teams coming out victorious against massive teams. Fiji really giving England a go. France, South Africa, 1 point, what a knife's edge. This is going to be, I think, a nail-biter, a massive clash. I'm going to be looking at a few different elements today. I'll be recapping on what strategies worked for both teams in the quarterfinals. I'll be looking at some of the, real positions that are key to both of the teams' attack, and what the type of players that both teams should be looking at on how to defend or how to close down. And then I'll be diving straight into my prediction from there, and giving you just a little bit of insight from me for this big semi-final game. And let's dive in, guys. Let's look at the strategy recap from a South African point of view. I really enjoyed watching this game from a South African spectator point of view. I think that there were some key strategies that came into play for South Africa that really worked and caught France off guard. So something that firstly caught me off guard was the 5-3 split with regards to the bench, and the way that they brought the 9, 10 and 15 on, I think just after 45 minutes was quite a new thing for me and quite unseen, but kind of went with their strategy. So what was the strategy that worked for South Africa? And they almost developed a new cross-kicking style of, disruption into a phenomenal attack, and it worked out very well for them. So the first thing I want to cover is Manie Libbok's cross kicks, putting Peter Steff or putting up one of the taller loose forwards onto the wing to assist or just to create havoc. Ibn Etzebeth was there as well. So putting up taller guys against backline players or the wing or the 13, going up just to contest the ball and make something uncertain. And yes, it did. Spilled the ball both ways. Arendse quick to react, as well as Kirtley quick to react, even Damien Delendi quick to react, and this converting into a try. So this was a really good strategy from the side of South Africa, creating that 50-50 chance, but kind of swinging it in their way by, really providing a mismatch of a taller forward against a backline player. And then opening up those other smaller, nifty, real good at attacking type backline players for South Africa into space with the offloads. I think this was great. I think something else that I really enjoyed watching was the ruck time again. I spoke about this before. I spoke about how vital and detrimental the rucks are at this time of the tournament, and both teams really went at the rucks and really secured. I think South Africa came on top. The referees' calls went both ways, and I think that just the pure effort that South Africa put in at all phases of the game, right? If it's at scrumming, at lineouts, at ruck time, at attacking, at defense, the energy they put in, you could feel and you could see. It's a bit, tap back with putting his entire body into it. I think Cheslin Colby with a charge down. The key message that went out in the locker room was definitely, no, there's not going to be anything left on the table, right? There's no space or no room left for what ifs. They're not going to second guess themselves, and they went full out 200%, each player on the field, and they really got it going. Something else I just want to bring up on that game as well was how well South Africa defended, closing down space, making sure that they're covering space at the back as well, with the expansive French game, with the expansive French kicking and how accurate they are, and starting to force those errors as well. So I think on attack, the kicking strategy worked perfectly. I think the wings, whenever they touched the ball, something phenomenal happened, just in small spaces. And I think that the interplay and the speed at rucks was also something that was really a big factor and contributing to South Africa's phenomenal win over France. If I look at the side of England against Fiji, the type of things that worked for them, I was firstly surprised with selection, looking at Farrell starting at 10 and then, bringing to Langen on 12. These were some big hitters for go forward ball, and Tuolangi did just that, right? So the strategy that worked for England was that they're going to get go forward ball off of hard carries, and then they're going to capitalize on that, whether it's on edge, catching Fijian defense off guard, having very quick ruck speed and quick ball, which really worked for them. And I just don't know if it's going to work the same way for them against South Africa, and if they're going to bring another element into this. Also putting Marcus Smith at 15, creating the 2-10 option, which New Zealand has done as well, I think worked well in their favor. They could attack either side wherever they want to comfortably. They got kickers who are kicking them into space and putting them in the right sides of the area. But let's be honest, defensively, against the heavy hard hitters that Fiji brought, it started breaking down and crackling a bit as well. Other set pieces that worked for them were scrums. I think I did call it before the game, England were going to, look at what phases of the play they can really be good at, and it was the traditional style of rugby play of having a good platform to launch off of, then launch very hard, create broken play, get the ball into edge, and let those guys finish just as well as they usually do. So yes, I think that these strategies for England work. Are they going to work the same against South Africa? I'm not sure. Same as, is South African strategies going to work against England? Are they going to put the Courtney Laws, who are taller, the Mario Tojes, into that space, knowing South Africa want to kick there? Those will be the big telltales. And let's see what happens this weekend. I'm going to be covering some of the most impactful players from the quarterfinals, some of the players that have to be contained from both sides. And let's start with South Africa. There's a lot to pick and choose from. I think that if I look at the forwards, probably the forward that stood out the most was Eben Etzebeth. A game-winning try. Yes, he had a bit of a 10-minute break, but I think that his carrying, his effort, everything that he put into the game was beautiful, and you could see it, right? I think that he was extremely strong in the air at line-out time, extremely physical ball carrier. He put in his hits where he needed to. He was at the right place at the right time. And how is England going to, try shut down a player that brings so much physicality? And yes, South Africa needs that physicality in the game to get that go forward. Are there bone-crunching tackles going to happen? Is Etzebeth going to meet his match with someone like Mario Toje or Courtney Law? That's going to be extremely interesting to me. It's someone that England have to contain. On the other side, if we look at in the side of England, some of the players that they're going to need to contain for South Africa is guys like Tom Curry. You'll never see Tom Curry not bleeding on some point of the game. He sticks his head in almost at every single ruck that he finds an opportunity, and he often gets vital turnover ball. How is South Africa going to protect the rucks against someone like Tom Curry at those specific times, right? I think it's going to be something that South Africa has to make sure not to lose those balls at a critical time. I also think that there's other players who are carrying well and linking well. I want to see Mario Toje at line-out time. How is South Africa going to adapt to this beast of Mario Toje in the air? He can read games well. He can read the defense. He can usually get up in front of that ball, cause havoc at line-out time. And line-out time is somewhere where South Africa really wants to launch off of, right? So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, Mario Toje, but more for me at line-out time as well. And then if they're going to put him, where I thought they would with regards to the kicking strategy. Then another player I have to talk about on the side of South Africa is both the wings, right? If I'm looking at Cheslin Kolbe, if I'm looking at Kurtley Arendse has not played a game that he hasn't scored in. Is this going to continue for the entire World Cup? Right? That's the amount of impact that he brings. He's probably going to score a try, and he's extremely fast, he's extremely agile, he's always in the right place, puts his head in, tackles very well. And the same with Cheslin. I think the amount of energy we saw from Cheslin Kolbe, charging down a kick, coming in for a sneaky little drop kick. I think that the energy that these players brought and their mentality, it's extremely hard to contain. And can the wings or even the back line of England, let alone their 15, really get into that space where they are able to defend against these vibrant wings from South Africa? Someone else I have to touch on the side of South Africa is none other than Jesse Kriel on 13. unsung hero of the quarterfinal, defensively stepping into the shoes of Lukhanyo. It was beautiful to watch, guys. I think he had the best game that he ever had in his career in any jersey. He really stuck up his hand and showed that the South African defense relies on the 13 position extremely. Lukhanyo did it brilliantly in the 2019 World Cup. Jesse Kriel's doing it now, and this is something that England need to consider, that, if they're attacking in that second or third or, 12 or 13 channel or wing channels, South Africa is bringing defense. They are bringing line speed, extreme line speed. It's going to be a telltale for me. One last position I just want to say, which is quite strong or detrimental on the side of South Africa, is Tuolangi on 12 for England. Just like the side of Bondi Aki on Ireland, he brings that huge go forward ball. It's extremely hard on that first channel. This past weekend against France, they did the same thing, and they feed off of that. So I want to make sure that the 10-12 channel is going to be secure on the side of South Africa. It's a huge Tuolangi, has massive experience. He's a wrecking ball to be reckoned with again, and he's going to be a player that South Africa need to shut down and make sure that they tackle first time, that they don't allow him to get momentum and to get the go forward that they really want to. All right, so yeah, that's going to be interesting to me. Those are some of the biggest, most impactful players that I can think of from both teams from the quarterfinal, and let's see if they shine again in the semi-final game, guys. Great. Next up, the prediction. Okay, so I've mentioned this before. Playoff games, extremely hard to predict. It can go either way. Sometimes some things work, some things don't work. But what I can tell you, it's going to be intense. It's going to be a full-out battle. There's a bit of bad blood between these teams. If I think about the World Cup final in 2019 and finishing 32-12, I think England want to give South Africa a bit of a payback. South Africa want to really establish themselves as the best team in the world once again. So yeah, it's going to be a massive heavy hitter. I think it's going to be enjoyable for both sides, and unfortunately there can only be one winner. I am, of course, naturally going with my home country. I really want them to take it out on England and go through to the final, and I'm hoping for a New Zealand South Africa final. I think that'll be amazing for the sport. I think it will be the biggest clash. So yeah, back on this again. South Africa to beat England quite comfortably. I don't think England are as good as what they were in 2019. I think South Africa are going to their stride. We cannot underplay that this is a semi-final, and England can really bring their side and can be quite a clash. However, I think this one can go quite comfortably for the side of South Africa. Point margin bigger than the final in 2019, so it was 32-12. I'm going to go with a 40-15. I think South Africa is going to again establish that they don't want to go for poles. They're going to definitely attack as hard as they can, and stamp their mark on how we attack, how we gain points, and how we are just currently crushing teams. So yes, let's look at what happens this weekend, guys. If you have different predictions, put it in there. Obviously, I know that this is tough. We have a lot of English fans wanting their team. I think the rest of the world is going to be torn between two teams, as both these teams are good at the moment. But let's see what South Africa brings, guys. And that's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much for watching my content again, for continuously supporting. I took a bit of a different route this time with my videos, just providing small recaps over here and impactful players that I think that can change the game over here. Making it short and sweet, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you're engaging on it. Please stay engaging with me on my channel. Ask me questions, provide your insights, give me your predictions. It's always great. I'd like it to be interactive. So yeah, guys, thanks for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and let's enjoy this amazing semi-final weekend coming up. All the best to your teams that you're supporting, and yeah, let's see who's going to be the finalists, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers.